Hello students, good morning everyone and welcome back in social science lecture of civics. This is the revision lecture of lesson number 2, which is federalism. So students, without wasting time, let's start to the lecture. So here in this lecture students, we are going to revise the chapter which already we have studied in our earlier session. So students, with this revision, I hope if any doubts are there, it will clear. And after this revision session, if you will be having doubt there, then definitely you can ask in feedback section, as well as you can ask your queries in doubt solving session also, which we are going to provide you lively. So let's start students today's revision session of this lesson number 2, which is federalism. But before that, I would like to give you today's thought, which is never give up because great things take time. Yes, my dear children, I know that very eagerly all you people are waiting to reopen the school, but don't give up because great things take time. And if you are studying anything and if you are not getting any result, so don't give up there. Try to keep going on because great things take time. So I hope, my dear children, you enjoyed the thought, and with this great positivity we can start today's lecture. So here we are going to start today's revision of this chapter, federalism. So students, this chapter is also very important, and in 10th standard, if you study all the chapters in civics especially, these chapters are interdependent, means these chapters are connected with each other. Okay, for example, in our earlier chapter, what have we seen there? So we have seen there power sharing, where we try to know about the different forms of power sharing, or what is exactly mean by power sharing, or why the power sharing is important. Okay, now here in this chapter we are going to know about the federalism, which is a type of power sharing. Okay students, what did I say here? In this chapter what we are going to study means, already we have studied the chapter in detail, but we are going to revise the chapter. And in this chapter, what we will revise or what we will study? So, about federalism, which is the form of power sharing. Okay, so I hope you people are connected with these two chapters. So let's try to understand here the definition of federalism, which is available on page number 14. Means exactly definition is not available students, but I have tried here to give you the definition of this federalism on the basis of information which is provided here in your textbook. So let's try to understand here, my dear students, what is meant by federalism. So federalism is a system of government in which the power is divided between a central authority and various constituent units of the country. So students, what is mean by federalism? Federalism, it is a system of government. ये क्या है? ये गवर्नमेंट का सिस्टम है in which where power is divided, जहाँ पे पावर को क्या किया जाता है? डिवाइड किया जाता है between a central authority and various constituent units. किस में पावर को डिवाइड किया जाता है? तो central authority, between central authority and various constituent units. Various constituent units means various states. Okay, so this total system of government, it is called as a federalism. Now again students, question comes there, why should we know about this federalism? Why should we study about this federalism? So here I want to tell you all, my dear children, because the country where we are living, in which country we are living? Yes, definitely in India. So being an Indian citizen, we should know about the principle of federalism. And why? Because we people are following the route of federalism in our government. So definitely we should know there about the federalism, exactly what is mean by the federalism, what are there the types of federalism, what are there the features of federalism and how our country it is adopted there the root of federalism in government or in administrative structure. Okay students, so I hope this idea of federalism is cleared, and why should we study this concept of federalism, it is also cleared here. Okay students, now your chapter it also start with this chapter is also start with the story of Belgium. Okay, as the first chapter is started with the case studies of two countries of Sri Lanka and Belgium, this chapter also start with the story of Belgium only, because in Belgium we have seen there what had happened there. Power sharing has been done there equally. Okay, power has been shared there equally among the different constituent units or between a central authority and various constituent units. Okay, and that is ओनली द कंसेप्ट ऑफ फेडरलिज्म, यानी जो बेल्जियम में जो पावर शेयरिंग का बेल्जियम में जो पावर शेयरिंग किया गया था, वॉट एवर द पावर शेयरिंग रूट हैज़ बिन अडॉप्टेड देयर इन बेल्जियम, दैट इज only mean by the federalism. Okay, so now let's move further. I hope it is cleared the idea of federalism. Now in our furthermore slides students, what are we going to discuss? So we are going to discuss about the different key features of federalism. So total 7 key features have been mentioned here in your textbook, as I have given you the example also there in my earlier session, where we have seen the points in detail, that if we want to buy any car, then first we see there the features. So our leaders means when they adopted there the principle of federalism or the root of federalism in government or in the administrative structure, they studied there very well the features of federalism. So what are there the features? Okay students, so let's try to understand here quickly one by one. There are 2 or more levels or tiers of government. So this is the first feature of federalism, which is tells us that there are 2 or more levels of tiers of government. In first feature, basic requirement is there students, that if you want a federalism, then you need there 3 levels of government or 3 tiers of government, which are those central, state and regional. Then the second feature, different tiers of government govern the same citizen, but each tier has its own jurisdiction in specific matter of legislation, taxation and administration. So here I have given you the example of one person who is living in Maharashtra and who is a citizen of India. So the different tiers of government govern the same citizen, though it's belong from Maharashtra, but after that also each tier means different tiers of government govern the same citizen, means the person who is living in Maharashtra, so to that person both tiers of government govern, means central government also and the state government also, but each tier has its own jurisdiction. But yes, jurisdiction means the court system is having there the different as per the state. Then again in specific matters of legislation also, and in taxation and in administration also. Then the jurisdiction of the respective levels of government are specified in the constitution. Yes, the jurisdiction means the third feature, which tells us about each level of jurisdiction, which is specified in constitution, means if any conflicts will happen there in any level, then who is having the authority to resolve that conflict? So jurisdiction is having there the authority. Then the fourth feature, the fundamental provision of the constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by one level of government. Means what? If any level wants to change any provision which is given in constitution, then unilaterally means by alone or by single hand they cannot change. Okay, such changes require the consent of both the levels of government. Okay, means if central government wants to change anything from the constitution or any law or any rule, then central government cannot change it unilaterally, means cannot change it by a single hand. Then what requires? So it requires there the consent of both levels of government. And which are those both levels? State government and central government. Means any rule or any um, any law, if the both government wants to change, then definitely it can change. But if one level wants to change any law or any rule, then unilaterally they cannot be changed. Okay, students, so this is very simple feature of federalism. So this is all about the four features of federalism. Now the fifth feature, which is also very important, that courts have the power to interpret the constitution and the powers of different level of government. Means what? Courts have the power to interpret, means whatever the provision is been given there in the constitution regarding the government, who is having to interpret all those things, means उसको विश्लेषण करने का अधिकार किसको है? तो courts को है. This power is with courts. Okay, then the highest court acts as an umpire if dispute arise between different levels of government in the exercise of their respective powers. But yes, if any conflicts happen there in different level, then who played there the role of umpire? High court or the court system or the judiciary or the jurisdiction plays there the role of umpire to resolve the matters. देखो students, इतना सुलझा हुआ है ये federalism का principle, and that's why we people are living in unity. Then the next feature, which is very simple, sources of revenue for each level of government are clearly specified to ensure its financial autonomy. Means what? So money is always important, my dear students. If money will not be there, then any government can't run smoothly. So for the function of each and every level of the government smoothly, what have they decided? They have decided there the sources of revenue for each level of government are clearly specified, ensure its financial autonomy. Means as per their level, they are having there the liberty of the sources of revenue. Means there is not at all the interference of the central government in state governments or the state government in central government. Okay, so I hope it is cleared here. Now the next feature, which is feature number 7. So here certain points are available, such as the federal system thus has dual objective. Means in 7th feature we can say there that the federal system is having here the dual objectives. For example, to safeguard and promote unity of the country while at the same time accommodate regional diversity. Means ये जो 7th feature है students, it tells us that federalism system provides us the dual objective. First one is there, it tells us that, means when you this 7th feature, it tells us that to safeguard and promote unity of the country. Means it protects everyone and it promotes unity of the country while regional diversity is available there. Then therefore two aspects are crucial for the institutions and practices of federalism. Governments at different levels should agree to some rules of power sharing. They should also trust that each would abide by its part of the agreement. An ideal federal system has both aspects, mutual trust and agreement to live together. Means what, students? When you share power, that time you can feel unite. दैट येस आई एम ऑल्सो हैविंग अ पावर. जैसे हमारे देश में अलग अलग स्टेट्स है, तमिलनाडु है, मणिपुर है, मीन्स डाइवर्सिफिकेशन इज़ अवेलेबल देयर, बट लेकिन फिर भी हम लोग एक दूसरे के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं. कैसे? तो हमने हर एक को क्या दे के रखा है? पावर दे के रखा है. ओके, सो दैट्स वाई वी आर हैविंग देयर द म्यूचुअल ट्रस्ट एंड एग्रीमेंट्स टू लिव टुगेदर, बिकॉज वी हैव गिवन देयर द इक्वल पावर टू ईच एंड एवरी level of government or each and every each and every people we can say there, though it's belong from the higher class, though it's belong from the middle class, or though it's belong from the lower class. So I hope, my dear students, this is all about the features of federalism. I hope you understood. This 7 features are very very important, my dear students, as far as your objectives are concerned, or as far as your long answers are concerned. Okay students, I hope you understood all these features of federalism. Now moving further, that the different types of federalism. So here 2 types are available there, coming together federation and holding together federation. So in the difference format I have given here, because question can come like this only, that differentiate between coming together federation and holding together federation. So in coming together federation, what happens there students? Independent states comes together on their own and to form bigger unit. Okay, in coming together federation, independent nation or independent states come together and they form there the nation. Then they increase security by pulling sovereignty and retaining identity. Pulling sovereignty means whatever their independentness, they come together by pulling their sovereignty. Sovereignty means students their independence, means when they come together, that time they do not forget about their independentness, though they are coming together. Means what is the basic concept behind this coming together federation? So the different independent states or nation come together and they form their own unit, or they form there the bigger unit. When they come together, that time they come together with the sovereignty and retaining their identity. Though they are coming together, but after that also they do not forget their identity. Then all constituent states have equal power. Though different nations or the different states are coming together, but after that also all constituent states have having there the equal power. And examples are USA, United States of America, Switzerland and Australia. So this is all about, my dear students, coming together federation. What is this? These are the types of federalism. Okay, or these are the types of federation. Then in holding together federation, what happens? In holding together federation, large country decide to divide power between constitutional units and center. Means here, यहाँ पे क्या होता है? In holding together federation, one large country is available there who decide, जिसका क्या होता है? Hold होता है किसके ऊपर? So different constitutional units, means on different states, one big unit decides to hold a power on different constitutional units. Okay, one more time here I would like to tell you what is exactly mean by the holding together federation, or what happens in holding together federation. So students, try to understand here. In holding together federation, large country, means here I want to give you example of India. India is a large country, then it decide to divide power between constitutional units. Yes, it decides to divide the power between constitutional units, means it decide to divide the power in different states and center. Okay, then center is more powerful, vice versa the state. Yes, definitely central government is more powerful than the state government, because it's having there the hold of central it's having there the hold on other states or on other constitutional units. So that's why center is more powerful compared to the states. Then constituent units of federation have unequal power. So students, here in coming together federation, we have seen there that all constituent states have equal power. But here in holding together federation, constituent units of federation have unequal power, because यहाँ पे पावरफुल कौन होता है? तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट होता है, यानी होल्ड करके रखता है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट किसके ऊपर? तो अलग अलग स्टेट्स के ऊपर. एंड एग्जाम्पल्स आर इंडिया, स्पेन एंड बेल्जियम. सो आई होप स्टूडेंट्स, this is very simple topic but very important as far as your exam is concerned. Okay students, so I hope you understood here the concept of coming together federation and holding together federation. Now students, till now we have seen the theory part of federalism, means what is meant by the federalism, then features of federalism, then types of federalism. Now we are moving further, means exactly how or what makes India a federal country. Yes, as I have told you earlier also that India is a federal country. And what is meant by federalism? We have seen. Features of federalism we have seen. Types of federalism we have seen. Now in India, what makes India as a federal country? So we are moving further and we will see. We will try to understand here that what makes India a federal country. Okay. So what makes India a federal country? Here part I have mentioned here, so avoid that word. So what makes India a federal country, students? In our Indian constitution, India is declared as a union state. Though we are following there the federalism, but in our constitution, the federalism word, it is not at all used for India. मीन्स हमारे इंडिया के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में इंडिया के लिए फेडरलिज्म ये वर्ड कहीं पर भी यूज़ नहीं किया गया है. देन व्हाट डिड दे यूज़ देयर? दे डिक्लेयर्ड इंडिया एज अ यूनियन स्टेट. देन 3-tier system our Indian government follows there. And which are those 3 tiers? Central government, state government and local government. Students, what are we seeing? What makes India a federal country? Okay. It is not at all how makes India is a federal country. What makes India is a federal country? So if the question will be there, then these points you need to mention in your answer. Then the third point, Constitution clearly provided a threefold distribution of the union government and the state government. Yes, this is the basic requirement of federal country. Means this is a type of holding together federation, students. Or in federalism we have seen there that when the power is been shared with the central government and with the state government, that time it is called as a federalism. So this basic requirement, students, here India is providing, or India is means this basic requirement is fulfilling by India. What is that? Constitution clearly provided a threefold distribution of union government and the state government. In constitution only clearly it has provided there the threefold distribution, यानी power का जो भी distribution किया गया है between union government and the state government, it is provided in our constitution. So it contains, means whatever the things has been mentioned in constitution, power has been divided between threefold distribution of the union government and the state government. Means students, let's try to understand here what exactly this point suggests. Constitution clearly provided a threefold distribution of the union government and the state government. This is the feature of federalism, students, that what does federalism tells us? हमें federalism क्या बताता है? That when the power divided between central government and state government, it is called as a federalism. So here in our constitution it is clearly provided that the power has been distributed of the union government and the state government. And वो power को कैसे divide किया गया है? It has given in the 3 list, or with the 3 list it has been provided there the distribution of power, and thus it contains 3 lists. And which are those 3 lists? So here in this, means in this slide it is more clear, that is which are those 3 lists, students? Union list, state list and concurrent list. Means union list is handled by the central government, state list is handled by the state government, and concurrent list it will handle by both government. So in union list, which matter comes there? Let's see. It has subjects of national importance. Subject means matters. So in union list कौन से matters आते हैं? जो भी national importance के जो भी matters है, it comes in union list. Then union alone can make a law. Here in matters of union list, union is having, or the central government is having, right to make the law. And which are those matters? Such as defense, banking, currency, foreign affairs and communication. Okay, students, now moving further towards the state list. So in state list, which matters are available there? So it has subjects of local and state importance. In this list, which matters included of local and state importance, and who is having the right to make the laws. So in state list matters, state government alone can make law. And which are those matter? Police, trade, commerce, agriculture and irrigation. Then the third list is available here, my dear students, which is concurrent list. So in concurrent list, which matters are available? कॉमन इंटरेस्ट बोथ टू सेंटर एंड स्टेट, यानी जो दोनों इंटरेस्ट के जो भी मैटर्स है स्टूडेंट्स, दोज आर अवेलेबल इन कॉन्करेंट लिस्ट. एंड हु इज बिन वॉच्ड टू दिस मैटर्स? सो बोथ सेंटर एंड द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट कैन फ्रेम द लॉज for the matters of this concurrent list. And which are those matters? Such as education, forest, trade, union, marriage, adoption and succession. So students, this three list you need to keep in your mind. In my earlier lecture also I have given or I have explained in detail, so I hope it is cleared. Now moving further students, we have seen three lists. Okay, and in those three lists we have seen there the matters also. Now apart from this three list, if any other matter will be there, then in which list that matter will be included? So the fourth list is available there, residuary list. And in this residuary list, subjects which do not fall under these three lists, means whatever the subjects cannot adjust or cannot added there in those three lists, or it is not added there in those three lists, it can be added in residuary list. And for example, computer software, means union government alone has the power to make law, and in this residuary list तो power किसके हाथ में होता है? So the matter of for the matters of residuary list, power is been with union government, means with the central government. So I hope my dear students it is clear that what makes India a federal country. Okay. Now we are moving further how federalism is practiced in India. So 3 points have been mentioned here. First one is linguistic state, second one is language policy, and third one is central state relation. So let's try to understand what is linguistic state. So students, this question is also very important. How is federalism practiced? मीन्स इंडिया में फेडरलिज्म को प्रैक्टिस कैसे किया जाता है. हियर डोंट बी कन्फ्यूज देयर. what makes India a federal country? It is completely different. And how is federalism practiced in India? So federalism practiced in India with these 3 points: linguistic state, language policy and central state relation. So let's try to understand what is a linguistic state. So in India, many new states have been formed, boundaries have been changed, people of common language have been brought together, states created on the basis of culture, ethnicity and geography has made the country united and administration made easy. Means whatever the formation have been done here of Indian state, it has been done on the basis of linguistic state. Linguistic state means on the basis of language. Okay, means whatever the formation has been done there of the state, it has been done on the basis of language or on the basis of culture, ethnicity, geography. Okay students, for example, means in Maharashtra, Marathi people are living means on the basis of language, linguistic states, the formation of states have been done there. In Punjab, Punjabi language speaking people are living. In Gujarat, Gujarati language speaking people are living there. Then some states have been formed there on the basis of culture, or some states have been formed there ethnicity or the geographic region also. Means कुछ स्टेट जो है जो जोग्राफिक रीजन की वजह से भी बनाए गए. फॉर एग्जाम्पल नागालैंड, उत्तराखंड एंड झारखंड. मीन्स इन नागालैंड यू कैन सी दैट नागा पीपल दे आर Nagaland, means the land of Naga people. Okay, so I hope it is cleared here. Linguistic state. Now the language policy. In country like India, many languages are available there because our country is very diversified, or means we can very proudly say there that we are living in unity with diversity. Why we are living with unity? Why we are living in unity with diversity? Because of language policy. And what is the language policy, students? So no language has been given the status of national language. हमारे देश में किसी लैंग्वेज को नेशनल लैंग्वेज का स्टेटस नहीं दिया गया है. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट कांट इम्पोज हिंदी और नॉन हिंदी स्पीकिंग स्टेट्स. Then here it is 21 languages. Okay, 21 languages have been recognized as a scheduled languages. Central agrees to the use English along with Hindi. By this flexibility is shown. Means, see, students, in detail already we have seen what is the language policy. So in our country no language is declared there as a national language, though the majority means 40% people are speaking Hindi, but after that also Hindi, it is not नेशनल लैंग्वेज. मीन्स इट्स सेइंग देयर दैट, बट ऑफिशियली किसी भी लैंग्वेज को एज ए नेशनल लैंग्वेज का दर्जा नहीं दिया गया है. देन सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट कांट इम्पोज हिंदी ऑन नॉन हिंदी स्पीकिंग स्टेट्स. मीन्स सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट कांट इम्पोज हिंदी ऑन नॉन हिंदी स्पीकिंग स्टेट्स. मीन्स दे आर हैविंग देयर द लिबर्टी दैट दे कैन कंटिन्यू their office work or their education in their own language. Means this liberty has been given by the central government to the state government. Then 21 languages have been recognized as a scheduled language. In constitution 21 other languages are available there which has been recognized as a scheduled languages. And why this provision has been done? Because any language speaking people, they should not feel alienated like which had happened in Sri Lanka. Then the central agrees to use English. Then central government, they agrees to use of English along with Hindi. Yes, likewise means you people are also using Hindi along with English. So this flexibility is been shown there in the language policy. Now the last thing that which practiced in India, that is central state relation. Means जो भी central state relation है, central government cannot undermine the power of the state or dismiss them. Central government cannot undermine or cannot dominate to the state government, or they cannot dismiss them. Understood, student? Then we have seen there the Congress. We have seen there the example of Congress. Okay, so that example I will not give you here detail, but just try to keep in your mind that central government cannot undermine the power of state or dismiss them. Means central government cannot dominate to the state government or cannot dismiss them. And when this provision happened, when the concept of coalition government comes, and when this concept of coalition government arise there after 1990. Okay, and what is mean by the coalition government? When the majority will not happen there and a government formed by coming together of at least two political parties, usually partners in a coalition form of political alliance, and adopt a common program. Means what, student? When majority do not happen there of any party, and when two party or more than two party, when parties come together and they form the government, that type of government is called as a coalition government. So power sharing is more effective today with this concept of coalition government. Understood, student? So likewise central and state relation is available there. So in this way we have seen here how is federalism practiced. Okay, now moving further towards the last part of this chapter, that is decentralization in India. Now here, students, what is mean by the decentralization? So try to understand what is mean by the decentralization. When power is taken away from central, जब power central से लेके and state government and given to the local governments. When power is taken away from central and state government and given to the local government, means when power takes from central and state, means central and state is here the center. Okay, and with this center, when the other center has been formed which is called as a local government, यानी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से थोड़ा पावर लेके किसे दिया जाता है, लोकल गवर्नमेंट को दिया जाता है. दिस प्रोसेस इज कॉल्ड एज ए डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन. अंडरस्टूड? नाउ व्हाई दिस डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन इज important? So the country like India, it's a very vast country. Many states are available there. So in size, if we see, in location, population if we see of our country, then it is internally diverse, and that's why need for power sharing is available there, and that's why we need to share the power and that's why the process of decentralization have been done here. And which government have been established? Local government have been established. So this all process, it is known as a decentralization. So students, with this process of decentralization, which government have been established or which government is introduced there? Local governments. Means till now only two governments we known there, which were those? Central government and state government. Now we know there the local government under the concept of decentralization. Now let's see here what is the mechanism of decentralization, or what is the process of decentralization. What is the local government? In our furthermore slides we are going to see there what is exactly the local government. So these students, बेसिक आइडिया बिहाइंड द डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन, यानी सबसे पहले आपका पेज नंबर जो 24 है, ऑन दैट पेज नंबर इट हैज़ गिवन देयर दैट व्हाट इज़ द नीड बिहाइंड दिस idea of decentralization. Means why do we need there the decentralization? So solving large number of problems and issues at local levels means, if we see there the central and state level, so we know very well that means there are also many issues and they are solving the issues at their level only, they cannot reach to the local level. So that's why we need to form there the third government, which is local government. Then people have better knowledge of problems in localities. जो भी लोकल लेवल के पीपल होते हैं उनके प्रॉब्लम उन्हें खुद ज़्यादा अच्छे तरीके से पता होते हैं, इसीलिए वो खुद अपने लेवल पे वो सारे प्रॉब्लम्स क्या कर सकते हैं? सॉल्व कर सकते हैं इन अ बेटर वे, इन अ बेटर फॉर्म. देन बेटर आइडियाज़ ऑन वेयर to spend money and how to manage things efficiently. Means on a local level people, they can handle the matter or they can spend money for their own benefit very well compared to the central or the state government, because they are having there the idea about their problems. Then people's participation in decision making means on the local level people can participate in decision making. Then to realize one important principle of democracy, local government. And again for the realization, what realization? That local government is also important principle of democracy, and we people are following there the principle of democracy. That's why we need to establish their local government, and we have formed that local government under the process of decentralization. Now let's see what is exactly local government. So in 1992 or under this act or as per this act, students, this idea of decentralization have been brought and steps have been taken there to establish local government. And what are those steps? So here I have mentioned it is mandatory to hold regular elections to local government, यानी लोकल गवर्नमेंट के जो भी इलेक्शंस हैं वो रेगुलरली होने चाहिए. देन रिजर्वेशंस ऑफ सीट्स फॉर SC and ST BCS. Then 1/3 seats reserved for women. State Elections Commission conduct election. State government share some power and revenue with the local bodies. So all these provisions have been done there under the Act of 1992. I hope students you understood here. Now here exactly the process, or here exactly the format of local government. Okay, local self government, पंचायती राज. So students, ये जो पंचायती राज है या लोकल गवर्नमेंट है, हाउ एग्जैक्टली इट इज़ फॉर्म्ड? सो ऑन अ विलेज लेवल, group of village, it comes together and they form there the panchayat, or it has, yes, it is called as a gram panchayat. Okay, and in this gram panchayat they formed, this gram panchayat is formed by gram sabha, where the adult people who are above 18-year-old, they people elect the president or elect the person of this or the head of this gram panchayat, which is known as a sarpanch. Again I would like to tell you students here, the group of village, they come together and they form gram panchayat. Okay, and how did they form Gram Panchayat? They elect the head of this Gram Panchayat by the Gram Sabha. In Gram Sabha, members are available there who are the voters and who are above 18-year old, and they elect the head person of this Gram Panchayat, who is known as a Sarpanch. Okay, then these Sarpanch or this Gram Panchayat, they formed there the Panchayat Samiti. This is also called as block or mandal. The members of this representative body are elected by all the Panchayat members in that area. So ये जो भी पंचायत समिति या फिर ब्लॉक और मंडल, इसके जो भी रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स होते हैं स्टूडेंट्स, द मेंबर्स ऑफ दिस रिप्रेजेंटेटिव बॉडी आर इलेक्टेड बाय ऑल द पंचायत मेंबर्स इन दैट एरिया. इसको कौन इलेक्ट करके देता है? सो इलेक्टेड बाय पंचायत मेंबर्स. ओके, देन moving further, all the panchayat samitis or mandals in a district together constitute the Zilla Parishad or district, it is called. Okay, and most of members of the Zilla Parishad are elected. Members of Lok Sabha and MLA of that district and some other officials of other district level bodies are also its member. ये जो district level पे means all panchayat samiti they come together and they form there the Zilla Parishad, and it is elected by the members of Lok Sabha and MLA of the district, and the head of this Zilla Parishad, it is called as a political head of Zilla Parishad or the chairperson of that Zilla Parishad. So this is all about Panchayati Raj, where 3 levels are available: village level, block level, which is also called as a mandal, panchayat samiti or block, and then it is followed with the district. Now here urban means ये सब हमने देखा, local level, local government on village level, then local government on urban level. So what happens there? Towns and big cities are available there. So in towns, municipalities are available there, and the chairperson is the head of that municipal corporation or that municipality. Then in big cities, municipal corporation is available there, and the head of that municipal corporation is called as a mayor. So I hope students you understood here the process of decentralization. Under the process of decentralization, local governments have been established there. Already 2 governments were available there, which are those central government and state government. Then under this process of decentralization, power has been taken from the central and the state and it is given to the local level. Means पूरा power लेके local level को नहीं दिया गया. So on the matter of local level only, power has been given to the local government. And what was the mechanism there, or what was the system there on the local level? Just now we have seen. Now students, this is all about federalism. Okay, now the questions which can frequently asked in your exam. So first question here I have mentioned, what is federalism and feature of federalism, dual objective of federalism. So all these means if this question will be there for 3 marks, this question can be asked there. So what is federalism? This can be asked individually for very short answer. Features of federalism, this can be asked for 5 marks, and dual objective of federalism means ये क्वेश्चन कंबाइन आ सकता है स्टूडेंट्स, फीचर ऑफ फेडरलिज्म एंड एक्सप्लेन द ड्यूअल ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ फेडरलिज्म. सो दिस क्वेश्चन कैन आस्क देयर फॉर 5 marks. देन व्हाट आर द टाइप्स ऑफ फेडरलिज्म, देन व्हाट मेक्स इंडिया अ फेडरल कंट्री, इज इंडिया अ फेडरल कंट्री, देन एक्सप्लेन द यूनियन लिस्ट, स्टेट लिस्ट एंड कॉन्करेंट लिस्ट. Then, how federalism is practiced in India? What do you understand by decentralization step taken in 1992? So this question can be asked there for 5 marks. Then rural local government and urban local government. So if the question will be available there, students, rural local government and urban local government. So all those things about Gram Panchayat, Panchayat Samiti and Zilla Parishad, if the rural local government will ask there, and urban local government means that town and cities, both government you have to explain there. Now the preparation and the career mantra, which I have already given you in my earlier lecture also. So deliberately students I have mentioned here because this chapter is very important as far as your UPSC and MPSC exams are concerned. And prepare every chapter in question answer format only, as we have seen all the points. So all those points prepare in question answer format only. And my dear students, read the chapter daily and revise it daily. So keep studying, my dear children. Thank you so much for listening me. Stay tuned with this. Stay connected with this lecture. I hope you understood this lecture. And after that also, if you are having any doubt, any query, then please you can ask in feedback section, as well as you can solve your queries or your doubts in doubt solving session. So thank you so much, students.